Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to one of my games. As you can see, I'm driving the STA-1. This is the Tier 8 Japanese medium tank, and I am platooned up with Majestic Spoon, who is in his Pershing. So we're in a pair of Tier 8 medium tanks. Now, when I first got the STA-1, I hated it, even when fully upgraded. The gun has pretty poor bloom stats, so moving, traversing the hull, all that jazz, makes the aiming reticule bloom a lot. Oh my god, that's a T-34-3. I don't want to be here anymore, or rather, I don't want to be shot by that guy, so I'm just going to use the tank's gun depression to hopefully get into a position from which I can shoot them, but they can't really shoot me. Anyway, yes. I didn't really like this tank to start off with, and this is the first game I had in which I thought, yeah, maybe I can play this tank without despising every moment of it. So, I'm facing off there against a T-34-3 and an STA-1. Clearly I get spotted. I mean, yeah, that STA was always going to spot me. Majestic's actually gone to the other flank. We kind of split up in this game. Honestly, can't remember why, but we did. For whatever reason. I'm never going to penetrate the front of the turret on a T-34-3, I don't think. So I don't even bother taking the shot. The ammo capacity on this tank is kind of limited. His side, however, that I can happily penetrate any day of the week. Average penetration on this gun with AP is 218, which is not too shabby for a Tier 8 medium tank, and I actually bounce on the enemy STA-1 despite the fact that the STA-1's armour is kind of not very good, but yeah, the gun mantlet can give the odd bounce every now and again. So I don't think, if memory serves, I don't think you're really going to see much of Majestic this game. Hey, I just took a snapshot in the STA-1, something the tank really doesn't do well, and we trade shots there. So you're not going to see too much of Majestic in this game, just because he's on the other side of the map. Anyway, currently engaged with this STA-1 and T-34-3. Take another hit there for my troubles. It's quite a big hit, actually. I think that was a hit from the T-34-3, because that one left a mark. But I managed to put a shot into the STA-1 for my trouble. Yeah, it wasn't the best trade. I mean, the T-34 hits for 390 and I hit for 240. So, yeah, shot for shot, that's not a very good trade at all. Now, I do have a little bit of fire support here, as you saw when the enemy STA lost a chunk of his health. It's not amazing fire support, but I do have a bit of it, and that shot was never going to penetrate. The hull armour of the T-34-3 is not particularly good, but angled back at that kind of angle, yeah, that just wasn't going to be a penetration. And there's another bounce on the STA-1, just as the gun mocks me even further. And that's really... I will do a review of this tank at some point, and I will have another replay, maybe other replays where I actually give my thoughts on it. But, you know, as I say, this was the first one where I thought I actually hadn't completely sucked. The thing that gets me... Oh, and Majestic gets a bit overwhelmed. The enemy had overloaded that sort of... I say overloaded. The enemy had quite heavily loaded that northern flank. And so really, I do want to get this STA and T-34 dead. But it's kind of awkward for me to do so. Anyway, the reasons I didn't like the STA were that its armour was pretty terrible. It still is pretty terrible. The soft stats on the gun are not very good. You know, things like aim time, effective aim time, you know, once you take into account reticle bloom and all that jazz. Not very good. Making the gun, in my experience, a bit unreliable. Have I already mentioned the armour? Yes, I have. The mobility, it turns well, but it's not actually very fast, meaning that it's quite difficult to run away from situations. And that together just made for a tank that I didn't like at the time. I've since revised that opinion a little bit, but as I say, I will save all that for a proper review, and goodbye Mr. T-34-3 for kill number 1. Anyway, we've managed to take out, we managed to contribute to taking out both of those Tier 8 medium tanks, and I'm just pondering what it is I'm going to do next. On the one hand, I could go up towards our base and up towards where the enemy are pushing around through the A1 position. The problem with doing that is that I'm then getting myself into a linear engagement with more heavily armoured tanks, and I run the risk of taking flanking fire from the enemy team who might be camping at kind of E2. The other way of approaching this is to instead go along the enemy's ridge line, spotting the enemy tanks, shooting at them when I get an opportunity to, hopefully getting supporting fire from my base campers, if you will. Oh, I probably could have taken a shot at that artillery, that was quite bad. Oh well. And hopefully putting flanking fire into the enemy team as they push through A5 around that region. So that's what I'm going to try to do. That is the plan. Now we've got this AMX 13F3 around here. There's a Jagdpanther 2, do not want to get shot by him. There's also a regular Jagdpanther, the Tier 7. So there are plenty of bad guys around here who can really spoil my day. Just trying to keep my wits about me. The AMX and the SU are having a bit of a Mexican standoff there. Neither wants to go around the corner and get blatted. Jagdpanther, however, goes for it, kills our SU-100, and that leaves our team 2 kills worse off. Jagdpanther is going down this hillock, and so I take the opportunity to push down here as well. I might take a shot from the Jagdpanther or something, but I have the health and the ambush on this guy, so I should be able to finish this guy off, taking one shot maybe at worst, and then, you know, that shot bounces. He bounces, however, the AMX comes down, misses, so concentrate on the Jagdpanther because the AMX will have a longer reload, and as it is, friendly IS-3, who for some reason, well, whatever, friendly IS-3 kills the artillery, so that just means I can kill the Jagdpanther. And so that's dealt with 2 of those guys. Jagdpanther 2 is still up on that ridgeline. The enemy heavy tanks and some mediums have now reached the sort of B6 kind of region, but Super Pershing manages to duff over the Panther 88, and that leaves us 1 kill better off. I must admit, while I was playing this game, I wasn't expecting it to go particularly well. It always felt like we were behind, even though we're actually winning here, as our IS-3 kills the enemy IS-3. And so that's really, those 2 kills, the Panther 88 and the IS-3, have actually drawn a lot of the strength out of the enemy attack. Although they do manage to nail our T-28 prototype into the bargain. So they've got a Tiger 2 and a T-32 facing off against our IS-3 and Super Pershing. Without knowing the respective healths of those guys and how good the players are, etc., I don't know how that engagement's going to work out, but I'm going to try and deal with this Jagdpanther 2. Ooh, that engagement has just become a one-on-one between the Tiger 2 and the Super Pershing. As the enemy team lose their T-32 and we lose our IS-3. And the Super Pershing manages to duff over the Tiger 2, so well done to that Super Pershing. So, trying to draw our team's attention to where the enemy artillery might be, or rather Majestic Spoon is, I should say. I mean, bearing in mind that's the FV304, so he's got a short range, and he's not going to be camping back at the spawn point like some artillery players will. Managed to put a shot into that Jagdpanther 2, apparently I caught him with his trousers down, which is always nice. He thinks I'm going to be round the other side, so let's be somewhere else. I take a shot for my trouble, but I'm going to reload before he does. So let's trade the 490 he did me for at least 480 from my gun. Now I don't know the exact reload time on a Jagdpanther 2, and clearly it would depend on equipment, but I doubt I can squeeze another shot into him before he's reloaded. So, and he's definitely loaded by now. We are each a 1 shot for the other, and I take a shell from the Burt there. So this position is not viable. Resuscitate the driver. Track myself on the way down that little hillock there. But the FV goes for another shot at my last location, where of course I no longer reside. So trying to come at this Jagdpanther 2 from an unexpected direction. And the mobility on this tank is not bad, it's just the top speed that that kind of limits it a little bit. I mean, I know the top speed is better than the top speed on the Centurion 1, which is a tank I really like, but the Centurion 1 has a little bit of armor to back that top speed up. Anyway, like I said, not going to try and review this tank in this video. Jagdpanther 2 there, again, caught him with his trousers down, and he is dead. That just leaves the FV304. Now, the FV, I mean, my armour isn't fantastic, but it should be enough to shrug off another shell from the FV, so I reckon it will take the FV 2 shots to kill me. Our M44, for some reason, blats our Churchill 7 to death, which seems a little odd to me, but what do I know? These things happen. And the Super Pershing, to give credit where credit's due, has spent the time to drive over the map and come and join me. Now, there's 4 minutes of this game left, and the FV is the fastest tank left in the game, including me. He's faster than I am, so chasing this FV down across the map could be really awkward. So instead, I go into the capture circle to make the FV come to me. I'm not actually expecting to win this game by capping, but I want to force that little FV to come and find me. I have 6th sense, so I know if I'm spotted, and the FV has very poor splash damage, splash radius, and quite a low range, so if he does decide to blind fire the base like that, it does narrow down his position a little bit. Now, with hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't be moving around all this much, because my camo rating would be far better if I just sat still. That was quite close. But there we go. Super Pershing moves into the capture circle with me. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I can't remember if we win by cap or nail the artillery, if I'm honest. No, there we go. The FV decides to spend the game blind firing the base to no avail, and we managed to pull a win out of that game by successfully capping. So that ended up actually being quite a fun little game. Let's go and have a look at the results. So that game actually ended up being first class mastery. I think it was my first class mastery in this tank. Also got Fire for Effect, Duelist, Hand of God, which is an unusual award to get in a paper tank like this, and first mark of Excellence. We managed to come top of our team, whether you count it by experience or damage done. In fact, we were top of the team by top of both teams by either metric. 2,882 damage, 3 kills, and 1,164 base experience. And as I say, this was kind of the first game where I'd actually gone, ooh, this tank maybe doesn't completely suck. Maybe I might actually enjoy this. Good lord. 22 shots fired, 17 hits, 13 pens for that damage count. We received 4 hits, of which none bounced. Spotted 5 enemy tanks, damaged 4, destroyed 3, got 546 assistance damage into the bargain, as well as 75 base capture points. We made a profit of 23,000 credits. It would have been 9,000 credits without that premium account. And in terms of XP, we walked away with just shy of 4,000. Bearing in mind that was with a premium account. Without, it would have been about 2.5. So it was a fairly respectable game, all things considered, and it was jolly good fun to play. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.